Was Jesus a Muslim?
Obviously, I'm a Christian. I say no. I think that it's very misleading what I usually hear about what a Muslim is, and then trying to apply it to Jesus and, you know, prophets before Muhammad. I think that we could start with however Dr. Nassar defines what a Muslim to be, and then we can go from there.
Sure. So, I'm sorry, honey. What I would say is that, yes, of course, I believe that Jesus, alayhi salam, peace be upon him, was a Muslim. And the reason I would say that is because, in my perspective, you have two possibilities. If you want to take from the world religions in which actually believe in Jesus, Islam and Christianity. And obviously, if you take the Quran as authoritative, then you're going to come to the conclusion that he's Muslim because he was a prophet of God and he therefore lived as prophets would. That being said, though, if you want to just look at the Bible, I do believe that you are not going to walk away unscathed either way. What I'm trying to say by that is that either you're going to take a Muslim Jesus or a Christian Jesus, and you're going to have to navigate the Bible in such a way where you're not going to walk away with all of it, because I don't assume univocality. And so from that perspective, what I would say is that if you take the Muslim version of Jesus, what you're going to get is you're going to be able to salvage so much of the Bible. So much of it will make sense to you. So much of it will be very clear that he was a prophet, that he prayed to God, that he worshiped God, that he taught people to worship God, etc. There's a day of judgment, the 6 pillars of Iman, things like this. However, in addition to that, you'll also have the added bonus of having a theology that makes sense to you. On the flip side, if you embrace the Christian version of Jesus, what I think is going to happen is you're going to end up twisting or denying, essentially twisting to a point where there's no more meaning left. They become unrecognizable, certain verses, certain ideas. And then, in addition to that, even once you're done with all that twisting, you're still going to be stuck with a theology that doesn't make sense to you. So therefore, of those two options, it makes a lot more sense to embrace the Muslim.
Just to keep the conversation like kind of concise, he asked like, what is a Muslim? Can you define that?
So there's linguistically, a Muslim is one who submits to God Almighty.
Okay.
Now, of course, you could say that Islam as a religion would be the religion of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So I understand that there is we can get into that in a moment. Is that what you want to clarify?
Yeah, basically, because when, like what you just said, you said that you would define a Muslim as one who submits their will to God, but there's a lot of people who believe they submit their will to God, and you would say they're not Muslim.
Correct.
So when you say a Muslim is one who submits their will to God, you're talking about a specific God. You have a specific ideology of God. You can't bow to a statue and and be a Muslim. You can't bow to your mother and think that your mom is God and be a Muslim. I can't bow to Jesus, believe he's God, and I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's important for us to clarify what you mean by God when you say a Muslim is one who submits to God. That's specifically the God of Islam, the God of the Quran and the Hadith.
The all-powerful creator of the universe.
And
Right.
just for clarification, can someone be Muslim, submit themselves to God, but then not think that Muhammad was a prophet?
So after the time of the prophet, just like in the same way at the time of any prophet, you have to recognize the prophets that exist at your time or before you.
Okay.
Right? So now that we're living in this time, obviously the Prophet Muhammad came and established his whole religion, etc., the religion of Islam. So obviously you have to accept that. But at the time of Jesus, it was accepting the prophet Jesus. And at the time of Moses, accepting the prophet Moses, and so on and so forth. But all of them taught the same message, that God, the all-powerful creator of the universe, is one God.
Got it. So you have to accept that, you have to submit yourself to God, and you have to accept all the prophets to be Muslim.
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so again though, submit your will to what God are you talking about specifically? Because when you apply this to the prophets, right? Obviously Islam claims Moses, Abraham and stuff like that. But the theology of who God is in the Quran, that's who you're talking about. It can't be anything out. Like for example, can you believe in a God? Can you believe in the prophets? Can you believe that God, the all-powerful creator, sent the prophets and believe in these prophets, believe in their message, but believe that God is a woman and be a Muslim?
Excellent. So I assume, let's go with father first, right?
No, a woman.
Oh, is a woman? No, of course not. No.
Okay. And why is that?
Because God is not a man.
All right, so you have a specific ideology of who God is.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so you have a specific theology of who God is. You have to believe in that specific thing, that specific ideology, in order to be a Muslim.
You have to believe that God is one and is not a human creation, not an idol, not a plant, not a man, not a human woman, not anything.
Can you
like
believe that he's anything outside of what the Quran and Hadith tell you?
No, you have to believe in God as described in the names of Allah. Yeah,
Right,
attributes and names, attributes of Allah.
Good.
Definitely.
So what we can do now here is we've got that foundation. Now let's apply it to Jesus.
Sure.
And let's see if Jesus had that theology. Does he teach, preach, follow, believe in the same God that we see in the Quran and the Hadith?
Excellent.
And so how would you
Yeah.
demonstrate that?
So you guys are aware that I think it's Proverbs 18, I think it is, that says, Yahweh, you are my rock, right? Famous.
You said Proverbs 18?
I think so.
Can we?
Am I wrong with that? Or Psalms,
Can
sorry,
we-
excuse me, Psalms 18, my bad.
Psalms 18?
My bad. I believe it's Psalms 18.
There's a few verses in there. that
Yeah,
says
so
he's a
either
rock.
Yahweh, you are my rock, right? So what I would do in that circumstance, if somebody says, Yahweh, you are my rock, I would say, I reject that. I put a big X on the idea that God is a rock, like you said, because it goes against our theology, it is not defined in our names and attributes of God. I reject the idea of God being a rock. Now I assume that that person is going to say, wait, we don't believe that God is a rock either. So I'd say, okay, well then why would you call God a rock? They say it's figurative. I'd say, great, this is the important part. Figurative for what? So now we have to shift over to figurative for what? So we leave the literal meaning, and now we're shifting over here to this mystery box called the figurative meaning.
Okay.
And the moment we open that mystery box, I say, figurative for what? And they say, well, we say God, meaning that we depend upon God. I would say, one of the names of Allah is Al-Wakil, the one that you depend upon. So while I affirm that meaning that you have clarified, I will reject your wording. So now let's apply that to Father.
Wait.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So can you be a Muslim and say that Allah is my rock?
No, again, you reject the wording. You reject that. I do not accept this idea of rock. The moment you tell me, though, that I don't accept it either, I don't think of God as an actual rock. I say, well, what do you mean then?
Yeah.
And the figurative meaning is the one that you depend upon. I say, that is the part that we agree about, not the rock.
So if they say that Allah is my rock, meaning that he's the one I depend upon, I stand upon him, he's my foundation, you would still reject saying that Allah is your rock.
I would not use that terminology. I use the terminology in the Quran.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we can go to Father now.
So now, as in terms of Father, I understand that the Jews, which exist till today, they would explain that, the Israelites, and Jesus was an Israelite speaking to an Israelite audience.
Yeah.
So if he's going to use language, we're going to ask, okay, what does this language mean? So whether it be the Jews before Jesus, talking about Father as a creator, because oftentimes it says, he is my Father, our creator. That's a few times in the Bible. And so it seems to be Father in a figurative sense. Now, I know even after Jesus, 1 John 3:10, what does it say? It says, it's just describing that the believers are children of God and that the evil people are children of the devil. We're not talking about the devil giving birth here. We're talking about figuratively speaking. So the moment you clarify this and explain that, listen, culturally, when I say rock, that's within our culture. We know what we're talking about. I say, well, I'm not from that culture, so I'm going to use Islamic terminology that is universal. And as long as you clarify the meaning, then I got no problem with that. And so the same thing with Father. If somebody says God is our Father, I say, well, we don't use that language. And you say, well, don't worry, we're talking within our context. It has a meaning. Figurative for what? If you say the one that is a creator, he is loving, he's going to do tarbiyah or build you up in such a way where you reach your max potential, that is Ar-Rabb. So he does tarbiyah. So these are all names of Allah, so we accept all of these meanings.
So is Allah a father then, in any sense?
Okay, no problem. This is why I don't usually talk with my hands so much, but I figured you try to, so maybe you guys can join me on this. We reject the literal calling, because
I said any sense.
So let me explain. So if you say it in a literal way, then obviously the idea of being a father is that you're having children, and passing on your nature is to pass on your independent nature. Now, the moment you create something that's independent, it's dependent. So now you have an independent dependent, it doesn't make sense. So we reject that notion of literal. But the moment you clarify that, like the Jews would, like the Israelites would, they would say, obviously we don't call ourselves literally the children of God. This is our culture, this is our figurative language. Figurative for what? You open that up, you see the mystery box, and you find certain meanings that are in line with Islam. You say, perfect, that's what we affirm.
So you affirm that Allah is a father in some sense.
Let's do it again. Let's run it back. I can see you're not getting it. I
really am not.
Check it out. No problem.
Yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, look, there's two sides. This side is the literal meaning. There's a big X
I
on
said
it.
any sense. So that includes metaphorical and figurative. Is he a father in any sense of the word?
I'm explaining it to you. I don't accept the word Father.
Okay.
Good. Now, when you say it's figurative, since I reject the word, you have to define figurative for what?
No, I don't, because I said,
Great, then
Dr. Nassar, any sense. That means any definition, any meaning, whether it's figurative, any figurative meaning, any metaphorical meaning. Is there any sense of Father that you can apply to Allah?
So you refuse to define your terms, is what you're saying. So then,
I don't have to. If look, brother.
Yeah, sure.
When I say any sense, that means whatever you can think of, and how you define Father, think of it. Does that apply to Allah? Yes or no?
Perfect. Is God a rock in any sense?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. He's our foundation.
He's your foundation. Okay,
Yeah.
so you
see how I can say yes?
So
Now,
you
your
believe
turn.
you believe that God is a rock?
I believe that Yahweh is my rock.
Figuratively?
Yes.
Figuratively, as in
Yes.
foundation?
I just said that.
With that definition?
I just
I
said
accept
it.
that definition as well.
Okay, good. So
I reject the word rock because I don't believe God is a rock.
then you don't believe. Then you're not affirming what we're saying.
You really don't understand what I'm saying?
I do. Look, this is what you're saying.
I have trouble believing you're not getting it.
Let me say it. Let me still man your point.
Hold on, guys. Did you know that over 80% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed? And that's the best way to support this channel. So let's give the audience a second to subscribe. And if they want to financially support us, they could become a member. All right, now let's get back to the discussion.
Sure.
Your point is, we reject the terminology, but we can extract a meaning that is correct or proper.
Not we can. Not we can. Not that we can. That the culture does.
Bro, I'm talking to you. You just explained to me and broke down.
Let me help you out. Go ahead.
You just explained to me and broke down, and you emphasize how it's like, okay, I got to do this again. I got to do this again.
Yep.
I just repeated to you what you just said to me. You said, nope, that's just the culture. I'm talking. Look, a Muslim. You're Dr. Nassar, Muslim. Is there any sense in which the term Father or meaning of Father can be applied to Allah?
Good.
Yes or no?
Got it. Now, let's say I'm walking in the middle of, I don't know, some new forest. Okay, and I come across a tribe of people. And I don't know how they use certain terms. I know how I use it. And they tell me that God is a rock or a father or something else. Anything that does not comply with the names of Allah. Instead of me telling them just that, no, I know exactly how you mean it because I know what's in your head. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, look, I know what I mean. Father is a word that has a meaning. It means that you're giving birth to somebody based on passing on your nature. It means that you have sexual or reproductive organs. So believe me, I reject all that. God does not have any sort of reproductive organs where he's having babies, okay? I reject all of that. Now, if they are the ones, not me, if they are the ones that want to clarify, we don't actually think of God as a literal father making actual babies in that sense, I'll say you can go ahead and clarify what you mean. And the moment they use a definition that is in line with the names of God, I will let them know those are names of God in Islam.
Okay.
Why is that complicated?
All right. So the descriptions that you use, the meaning of Father, let's say they use Father in the sense of creator, sustainer. So you can affirm like, oh yeah, that's good. These are descriptions of Allah.
Yes.
So then can you then apply that and say, yeah, Allah, you are the Father in the sense that you are my creator and sustainer.
So, since I don't use those terms because I'm not from that culture, I will say, guys, I understand your words. I don't need to adopt your language.
That's not what I asked. I didn't ask if you need to adopt it. I asked, as a Muslim, can you be a Muslim and affirm that Allah is your Father in the sense that he's your creator and sustainer?
As a creator, if you are using this term to strictly define God as a creator and sustainer, I will let them know I fully agree with those names while I'm not interested in your terminology.
Okay, so I'm being very clear.
But that was not good enough?
No, it wasn't. Because I'm not asking what
Could you give a yes or no answer?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Just really quick, because
I will not use that term, and once it's explained, I will affirm which parts of the explanation I affirm. And in terms of the literal wording, I am not interested in adopting your language.
Yeah,
Yes,
what's wrong with that?
I'm just trying to move the conversation forward. I'm just trying to.
So it's a no. It's a no. You cannot be a Muslim and affirm that Allah is your Father, even in a sense that he's your creator and sustainer. Correct?
What?
You just said you can't do it.
No, you just shifted. You just said even
why
in
I
the
was being
sense
very specific.
No, even in the sense that you are using it in these definitions.
Creator and sustainer.
Yeah, so I affirm those definitions.
So do you
I'm not
affirm-
interested in using your terminology.
So this is why we're stuck here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
Are you seriously not getting this?
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but I'm just.
Okay,
trying
let me.
to-
I'll make it real easy for you.
No, please.
Okay, don't want to.
Because I want you to know.
Take your time.
I think we all understand what you're saying.
Yeah, we all understand.
We understand what you're saying.
Go for it.
But what you're saying is not answering my question. I'm not asking what you're interested in using. I'm not asking if it's your preference to use this type of terminology. I'm asking, as a Muslim, can you affirm whether or not Allah is can you affirm that Allah is your father in the sense that he is your creator and sustainer? Can you, yes or no?
I don't use that terminology.
I didn't ask if you use it. Can you?
Can a Muslim do that?
Am I allowed to use that terminology?
As a Muslim?
Definitely not today, because we're not in that culture.
Okay, boom, let's go with that. All right, not today, you cannot.
Yes,
so
sir.
was there ever a time where you can be a Muslim and you can refer to Allah as your father in the sense that he's your creator and sustainer?
In the time of the Israelites, when they used that terminology, and they all knew what they were talking about, yeah.
Okay, so yes, Allah was once a father, and then now he's not a father. Is that correct?
Okay, let me explain why this is
Break it down.
quite funny. So you understand very well that God was once a rock, but he's not a rock.
No.
This is, okay, so
No, we affirm he's a rock to this day.
So am I allowed to continue my thought?
I'm sorry, because you misrepresented.
I'm gonna
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh well, if you misrepresent me, I'll just keep cutting you off, or what?
I never misrepresented you.
Okay,
I'm sure you don't think so.
Okay, let's finish.
That's
I'm
great.
sorry,
All right, go ahead, my bad.
So now what I'm trying to say is, I'll give an analogy that hopefully the Christians will appreciate. Maybe you guys will understand this.
Okay.
In English, you call him Jesus. In French, you call him Jésus. In Spanish, you call him Jesus. Am I right? Now let's come up with a hypothetical language. Let's say there's a language out there that you pronounce the name Jesus as gay. Avery, in that hypothetical situation, are you going to say Jesus is gay?
You're talking about his name?
See how childish this is?
No, it's not childish. Let me show you
Yes
why.
or no? Yes or no? Can you say the words?
Hold on. Let me actually help you out with your analogy. Your analogy is not analogous because we're not talking about simply a name. We're talking about the identity of the figure.
No, you're talking about a name. You're talking about a name.
No, I'm not.
You're talking about an identifier.
Remember, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Yes, an identifier. So as an identifier, who God is, he is the Father. That's who he is theologically. A name of Jesus is not a theological issue. We're talking about your theology. So stop trying to bring up, a random word in a random language applied to Jesus. That's not analogous. We're talking about theology.
Not yet.
So if you're talking about, can you apply certain things to Jesus theologically or to God theologically that do not fit? The answer would be no. You understand what I'm saying? But so we're talking about whether or not you can refer to Allah as your father theologically. And your answer is yes or no?
My answer is, at the time of Jesus, in a certain culture, using the term rock was well known, using the term father was well known.
Who cares?
And okay, if you don't want to hear it, that's fine.
So is using the word Baal. The Israelites called God Baal too. Is that okay?
If at that time they were using terminology that was in line with a meaning that is actually comports and is incompatible with the names and attributes of God, then what's the issue?
Okay, good. So when they said that God was their husband, is that okay? Was Allah once a husband?
Great. So if I come across a people that say to me, we believe God is a husband, I will tell them I reject that language. If they then say, wait, no, I know you're going to interrupt. That's okay. You're going to say, I reject that language because I use the word husband a certain way. If they tell me in our culture we have a certain figurative language, we do not mean husband in the sense that he has a wife. We don't mean it that way. I would say, would you like to explain? As they explain, either